You would probably starve in a place where your ancestors could find dinner. Not because they were stronger, not because they were braver, but because they could see food where you would see nothing. Put a modern human in the ancient world for one day, not a warrior, not a survival expert, just an ordinary person. Someone with a phone, a fridge, and a favorite meal. Now take all of that away. No labels, no menu, no clean plates, no one telling you what is safe. By sunset, the biggest danger might not be a predator, it might be your own mind, because you would walk past food again and again and again. Without knowing it, you would see trash. Your ancestors saw dinner. You would see danger. They saw calories. You would see something disgusting. They saw one more night alive. The first strange food was inside something that looked finished. A bone to you. A bone means the meal is over, the meat is gone, the good part is finished, what is left goes in the trash. But to ancient humans, a bone was not trash. It was a locked box, and inside that box was fat, soft, thick, rich fat, bone marrow. Imagine finding a dead animal after another predator got there first. The ribs are stripped, the skin is torn, the smell is wrong. A modern person would step away, but an ancient human would look closer. They would pick up a stone, place the bone against the ground, and strike it. Once, twice again, the bone cracks, and inside something that looked dead, there is food. Not clean food, not pretty food, but food that could keep a child warm. Food that could help a tired body walk farther. Food that could mean someone wakes up tomorrow. And this is not just a guess. Archaeologists find ancient bones with cut marks, break patterns, and percussion marks. Small scars in the bone, showing that someone cracked them open for what was hidden inside. But then it gets even stranger. Some ancient humans may not have opened every bone right away. At Kisem Cave in Israel, researchers found evidence that some long bones were kept, saved, and cracked open later. Think about that. Before refrigerators, before cans, before plastic containers, a bone may have worked like storage, a natural package, a hard container, holding fat for a future hungry day. To you, that would look disgusting. An old bone sitting near a cave, dry, ugly, easy to ignore, but to them it was emergency food, it was planning. It was memory. It was tomorrow's dinner, waiting inside something you would throw away. That is the strange part. The bone was not only food, it was a survival tool, a way of telling hunger. Not today. The next strange food was hiding where the land ended, the shore. Today, the beach feels peaceful, a place for walking, photos, vacations, but to ancient humans, the coast was a dangerous pantry. Sharp rocks, cold waves, slippery pools, shells that could slice your hand, water that could return and trap you. And inside that danger were small animals locked in armor, shellfish, crabs, mussels, limpets, sea snails, things that looked more like stones than dinner. You could not just bite them. You had to know when to go, where to step, which shell to open, which creature to avoid. And this is not imagination. At Pinnacle Point in South Africa, early modern humans were using shellfish around 164,000 years ago. A short proof drop, but a big idea. The ocean was not just scenery, it was survival. And it was not only modern humans. At Figueira Brava in Portugal, Neanderthals were eating marine foods too. Fish, mollusks, crabs, food pulled from rocks, water, mud, and danger. So the old picture is wrong. Ancient humans were not always heroic hunters, chasing giant animals across open plains. Sometimes they were crouched beside tide pools, hands wet, feet on sharp stone, waiting for the ocean to briefly reveal dinner. To you, it might look like a dirty puddle. To them, it was a cupboard, a strange cupboard, a dangerous cupboard, one that opened and closed with the tide. And if you missed the timing, the ocean could take back what it had just offered. Then there was food under dirt. This part sounds less dramatic until you imagine being hungry enough to dig into the ground and hope the thing you pull out does not poison you. Because not every survival food ran, bled, or screamed. Some foods just sat underground. Ugly, hard, bitter, silent. Roots, bulbs, seeds, nuts. Plants with tough skins. Plants that tasted wrong. Plants that were useless until someone learned the trick. Some of these foods were not food yet. They were almost a trap. Eat them the wrong way, and they could hurt you. Prepare them the right way, and they became calories. Maybe fire made them safe, maybe pounding made them soft, maybe soaking removed the bitterness, maybe cracking the shell turned a stone-like object into food to a modern person. This would not look like dinner. It would look like dirt, a lump, a dry seed, a bitter thing your mouth wants to reject. But ancient humans learned something we rarely think about. Some foods are not found ready. Some foods have to be made edible. They had to be roasted, crushed, soaked, cracked, pounded again and again until danger became calories. And there is proof. At Gesher Beno Yaakov in Israel, archaeologists found ancient plant foods around 780,000 years old. Nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, and underground storage organs. That phrase sounds boring, but the reality is not boring at all. It means ancient humans and their relatives were not just eating what looked easy. They were solving plant problems. A root was not just a root, it was a test. A seed was not just a seed, it was a locked meal. A bitter plant was not useless, it was a problem, waiting for a human brain. And then there were the parts. Modern people almost never want a picture. Organs, skin, fat, tendons, brains, blood, the soft parts, the chewy parts, the parts that smell strong. The parts that do not appear in clean packages, under bright supermarket lights. Today, many people would push them away, but ancient humans could not afford that kind of comfort. An animal was not a product, it was a rare chance, and when a rare chance appeared, you did not waste it. The liver could be rich, the fat could be precious, the skin could be useful. The bones could be cracked, the tendons could be chewed, the blood could mean energy. Nothing was simply gross if it helped the group survive. To you, it might smell wrong. To them, it meant the children would sleep with food in their bodies. That is the part modern life hides from us. We think disgust is obvious, fixed, natural, but disgust depends on the world you live in. A modern kitchen teaches one kind of disgust. The ancient wild teaches another in our world. Food arrives clean, wrapped, named, separated from the animal, separated from the dirt, separated from the blood, the bone, the shell, and the work in their world. Food came mixed with risk, smell, mud, firestone, memory, and fear. So maybe they were not less sensitive than us. Maybe they were simply trained by a harsher world, a world where refusing the wrong thing could be just as dangerous as eating the wrong thing. So the weirdest foods ancient humans ate were not weird because ancient humans were less intelligent. They were weird because they were more observant than we are forced to be. They saw value before beauty, energy before comfort, survival before appearance. A bone was not trash, it was hidden fat. A shell was not a rock, it was protein. A bitter root was not useless. It was stored energy underground. An organ was not disgusting. It was one more chance from a world that did not care if you lived. That is the real reveal. Ancient humans did not survive because they liked strange food. They survived because they learned to see life inside things that looked dead, dirty, dangerous, or worthless. And maybe that is what we have lost. Food used to begin as a question. Can this keep us alive? Now food begins as a choice. What do I feel like eating? That difference is enormous. Because for most of human history, every meal had to be found, dug up, cracked open, pulled from rocks, cut from bone, cooked by fire, and shared before it disappeared. So maybe the strangest thing is not that ancient humans ate marrow, roots, shellfish, organs, or blood. Maybe the strangest thing is how easily we forget that the foods we would refuse to touch may be the reason our ancestors survived long enough for us to be here at all.